for online presentation and Q&A. I'm Grace Fang from Israel University. I'm very happy to be here. And today we have Irene as well, who will be in charge of Japanese interpretation. Thank you. Right, at the beginning of the online presentation, I would say a good presentation relies very much on a good preparation, including that you should be familiar with all kinds of related software like Google Meet or Zoom or Teams or any others, or certain platforms that are used in our presentation. And in the very beginning of the presentation, students, you need to give a very nice greeting and very briefly introduce yourself. Okay. 来 ，Irene， 有什么题？中文是题。好，老师很快说一下哈，一个好的 presentation 你必须要有非常好的准备，也就是说呢，跟你这个 presentation 要发表的相关的这个软体，你都要稍微去熟悉一下，不要在到时候上网发表的时候手忙脚乱。然后在你发表一开始的时候，你必须要很开心的跟大家打招呼，然後你要很簡短的介紹你自己，你的名字啊，你是從哪一個學校來，你是從哪一個國家來的。OK。
はい。オンラインプレゼンテーションを発表する前に、Google Meet、Zoom などの、オンラインツールの準備や簡単な挨拶と自己紹介が必要です。はい。
はい、そうですね。And during the meeting or during the presentation, you need to be aware of your volume. That means you shall not speak too loud or too weak, and you should give a kind of very present speed, and try to apply a kind of dialogic form, a kind of conversation. That way, it's more pleasant to hear, and try to use a simple, sincere, and very friendly style. Try to avoid the noise or low sound quality. That means you should get connection all well done beforehand. And if there is a device to show up your face, please show it and then give us a very good smile. 那这边老师要说的是呢，就是你在发表的当中，你的音量非常的重要，不要太强，也不要太弱。那你的语速呢，也是要让人家听起来是很可以一下子就接受的很愉悦的那一种声音，然后尽可能用对话的方式让听的人觉得很容易就接受你讲的东西，尽可能让你的整个风格是非常的友善的，非常的简而易懂的，但是要非常的诚恳。那尽可能你的这个 facility 弄好一点不要有太多的杂音啊，或者是的背景声音，这都是不可以的。那所以你一开始的时候，你的那个online connection 就要先做好，然后最后如果说你的这个 camera 可以把它装置好的话呢，最好是开镜頭，然後給大家一個非常棒的這個表情，非常棒的笑容。
はい。発表するときには、自分の音量、話すスピード、会話的なプレゼンテーションのスクリプト、フレンドリーな話し方を常に意識し、または、いい音声を出すために、静かな場所を使って、事前にインターネットアクセスも良いか確認しておきましょう。最後に一番大切なのはあなたの笑顔です。はい。
はい、そうですね。And at the end of your presentation, try to give a very brief thanks. For example, you can thank you for their very hard work to give us such a wonderful presentation, and thank you for the audience to be so patient to listen to your presentation, so and so. And then after that, you need to be ready for Q&A because our Q&A is right after the presentation. And in your group, you should select only one person that is your representative to answer the questions. Try not to speak, all of you, all at the same time, or otherwise it will cause a lot of noises. 那这边老师要说的是呢，你的 presentation 结束的时候呢，你要很耐心的跟大家，很开心的跟大家稍微谢谢一下，好，谢谢 大家这么认真的听你的这样的一个发表，然后你就要马上准备好要回答问题了，因为我们的 Q&A 我们的回答问题时间是直接在你的发表之后。那回答问题的时候，尽可能在你的小组当中选择一个人。好，一个人当一个代表来回答问题就好，千万不要整组7、8个人在同样的时间一起说话，这样会造成很多杂音。
発表が終わるときに、まず必要なのは簡単にお礼を言うことです。まだ質疑応答の時は、質問に答える担当の人を一人選んでおきましょう。
はい。そうです。Okay, so how do we ask questions during the Q&A? In the case of WYM, presenters start answering questions right after the presentation. Therefore, when asking questions, never ever use the impolite words or a kind of emotional words. A good academic manner shows the attitude and the value of the sharing. And we're going to show you the 6 examples, and then we're going to find out good and the bad parts. 那这边老师要说的是呢，在 Q&A 的时间里面，当我们在问问题的时候，我们要注意，就是说，我们发表完之后，接下来紧接着就是要回答问题，这个当中是没有这个时间让你去等待的。所以呢，当你在回答问题的时候，一定要记得不要用一些情绪上的字眼或是不礼貌的字眼，这是不可以的。那一个好的这个学术性的这种礼仪是非常重要的，可以把你整个态度都表现得淋漓尽致，还有你对这个分享的这种高度价值感。那接下来我们有6个 example， 待会老师会一一的在 example 里面讲解给你听。
はい。WIM の質疑応答は、プレゼンテーションの直後にあります。質問をするときには、失礼な言葉使いをせず、丁寧な言葉、表現を使って質問しましょう。では、次の6つの例を見てください。いいところと良くないところを見つけましょ
う。はい。そうですね。Okay. Now let's have a look at example 1. They are all the examples I selected from the previous essay presentation. And after the presentation, students start to type their questions, and then you can see that's the way they type. And give you 3 seconds. Can you find out some very good parts and some parts are not quite okay? Okay, 1 and 2 and 3. Now let's have a look how you feel about this kind of way to ask questions. Okay, Ángela, dígame, ¿dónde está?
Aquí.
Muy bien, muy bien, muy bien. Okay, so here you give some cutie icon and those smiling face, angry face, and you have some underline with the green color and the red colors. Could you briefly explain it?
Yes, I put green in the part I consider is polite, because the first sentence, for example, say, "Thank you for your nice presentation," and then it says, and the last part, how can you help him? Because he's asking, but in a polite way. And also the second question is the last part is what is the proper reason for banning the SMS? But in the last one, I consider it's not too polite, because it includes the word if, like he's trying to connotate that he's doubting of what he was saying before.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I briefly explained it. Thank you for your nice presentation. 这个是非常好的说法。OK， 那你在提问的时候，可以先谢谢别人这么辛苦的给你这么棒的一个 presentation. How can you help him？ 这个非常的直接，其实还是 OK 的哈。那在上次SF 的这个 topic 是 cyberbullying 还有 fake news。 online 之间的一些 issue。那这边呢，你再仔细看一下啊，第二个画绿线的地方 ，What's the proper reason for something？ 这个也是 OK 的。那你可以先解释一下你要问的问题 ，if it doesn't the way you want to say, or if it's not the way you guess, what is another proper reason for something else？ 好，这个都是很好的英文的用法。那下面 is fake news always a bad thing？ 这个就非常的直接。Actually， 这个老师是觉得说你可以再客气一点点哈，你可以再客气一点点。好，最下面 How will you deal with bullies if it really happened in real life? Can you guys give some solid solutions？ 好，这是非常这个年轻人的活泼的写法。However， 那个 Can you 是实际上呢，不如用 Could you 会比较的客气一点，会比较的有礼貌一点。好 ，Next one, let's have a look. Okay， 好 ，This is the example also from essay。好，这边老师要再说一下哈，if we type your questions, try not to use Chinese characters or your own characters, Japanese characters or Vietnamese characters, because other students will not be able to understand you. 那这边老师把一些字拿掉了哈，好，这是某高中，他一开始就会用中文打字哈，they type first in Chinese characters. I do not suggest that. If you want people to know who you are clearly and try to type the name or in English, that's better. Okay, so this part, let us ask somebody to give us some opinions, should we? 好，来。Cindy 在吗？
Yes.
Okay, can you briefly explain?
Yes, and I think the first line is but this student use but is more modest. I feel more modest. And second, what else can we do to solve the problem? They use can and they use what else, and I feel it's more polite. And the third one is say what's fake news. According to Grace, say the topic is about fake news, and this one thing I think he didn't mention. He didn't focus on the presentation that SF students gave us, and sometimes fake news might become the real one, like the masks tissue paper. I think it conclude the presentation that SF student gave us, so it's very I think the student is focused on the presentation. Yes, this is my opinion.
Okay, thank you very much. 好，老师很快再解释一下哈。But how come 这个是比较婉言的说法，事实上都是非常好的问问题的方式哈。那 But how come we differentiate independent facts？好，这些呢都是你在问问题的时候可以用到的字。What else can we do? What else could we do? 这个也是可以用的一个非常好的句型。However, the third one， 第三个你会看到直接问 What's so and so， 这个就比较不 OK 哈，因为这个太直接了。事实上，如果是这种问题呢，通常它的答案都已经在presentation 里面秀过了，那你再问人家已经讲过的东西，然后又是这么直接的问句，事实上是比较不太妥当的。好，那下面一个 sometimes fake news might become the real one， 这个 might 就用得非常好哈。英文里面的 might、may、could 这些字呢，事实上都有比较客气的这种口气，这个必须要稍微注意一下。OK。Right, the next one, we have another 4 examples here. You can have a very quick look. And again, here, if you're gonna show your school, try to type or in English, and then we're gonna ask Carrie here, to talk about your opinions. Harry. Mm,
Yes, I hear.
okay.
I think your topic is fake news, but you focus on another place. But and the next sentence, the relation between those two things, I think it is a not bad idea. But it's, if you not focus on the bad news, I think it is a little divide at from subjects. And
Mm,
the second is what accept should you success can improve. I think it is a good subject for presentation. Can let them know how to improve their report better.
mm,
And the third, thank you for your presentation. I think it is a good, is polite and very well seen when you finish or ask some question for person you need to answer.
mm. Okay. And last one.
And final one is suggest some useful apps. I think you suggest useful app can also can improve and they know how to do better on the presentation.
Mm. Okay. Right. Thank you very much. Sometimes you will use the sentence pattern like, what's the relation between so and so? That's okay. That's okay. And if you want to clarify, you will say your topic is something, 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 but something, something, something. Okay, this is also okay to use. And what aspects should the improve? And thank you for your presentation. They are all a good way to ask the questions. And can you suggest us some other things? Okay, if you are very much interested in the topic the presenters present, and you could ask more by saying, could you suggest us some further something, some further research, some further useful apps, or some further documents to look at? That's okay。这些都是很好的一种客气的问法，但是这边呢，Can you suggest 不如 Could you suggest， 用 could 会更加的礼貌一点点。Okay, right. Next one, example 4. Again, they are 4 sentences. We have a very quick look, and we're gonna ask somebody to tell us about her opinion. Anita, are you here? もしもし?
Yes. I think, as Grace said, we should be polite when we are asking some question. So the first line, I think, we should add some greetings, such as thank you or some words such as excuse me. So we can add excuse me, what measures have Japan been applied to tackle the problems? And the second line is a great sentence because it adds thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. 好，谢谢你。好，这边老师再说一下哈。What should we do when we when we face this problem？ 这个是可以的哈，但是在前面的时候，我们还是要加一个 Thank you for your presentation. If you can thank for somebody's hard work, that's good. Okay, that's better. What measure have somebody or somebody has done somewhere？ 这个也可以哈，或者你可以问 What's the difference between A and B to clarify the thing you want to ask？ 尽量把你的句子变得短，而且清楚，而且让别人一听就知道你要问的东西。Try to make your sentence, your question sentence short, clear, and precise. 好 ，example number 5. We have another 4 questions here, and then again, some students they still like to type into Chinese characters. Try to avoid that. Because it's an international event, you need to use English, please. And then, should we ask somebody to tell us about the good parts and the bad parts? Ako-san. Ako-san, are you here? Moshi-moshi.
She's not here.
Okay, and then Irene, could you please explain it?
Okay, so the first one is quite good because it gives the great gratitude to the audience, to the presenters, but same they use the Chinese character here, like Gaoxiong, something. So maybe for some participants from other countries who are not who don't know the Chinese character, they might don't understand that. And what kind of difficulty you face? And the second one, okay, the second one is good. Do you announce your thoughts too? Okay. Yeah, second one is more polite than the first one, and the third one, you say it has some grammar mistake, but for me, I think it's okay. It's not a big problem if you make some grammar mistake. But maybe they should focus more specific things on their questions. I think.
Okay.
And yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you very much. 好，老师很快再讲一下哈。Thank you for your presentation。这个是很有礼貌的，尽可能的在你发问之前稍微做一下这样子的一个表示。尽可能grammatical mistake, right? It doesn't matter that much, but try to, if you can, try to avoid that as well. 比如说，你看一下这边 grammatical mistake like how does algorithm relate to the fake news? 那开头的大写跟 how something does 那这个其实 actually when we say quickly in a conversation, we might just say like that. 但是这个speaking English and written English, they are still kind of different. 他们还是不太一样哈。当你在写英文的时候，也许 when you finish your sentence, you can quickly sit back and look at it, check it by yourself. And of course, those very simple mistakes, you can identify, you can find it out, and you can quickly correct by yourself. 那如果可以的话，你写完你的句子的时候，稍微很快的一秒钟、2秒钟检查一下，如果有一种那种比较简单的，一眼就看出来，这个句子不太对，文法不太对的时候，你可以很快的做一个更正，这个是比较好的。但是 having said that， 这个其实不是影响太大了。好 ，Thank you all for presenting this amazing topic， 这也是很好的说法，先谢谢别人。好 ，OK。Right, example number 6. We have 4 sentences, 4 persons are asking the questions. And should we ask somebody to tell us this? Alan?
Yes, okay. According to the Grace said, the first line, "Hi, thanks for the great presentation," is the excellent greetings for the beginning. And take a look at the second line. Sometimes telling teachers the problem will only make the situation worse. I think this expression is so straightforward that maybe some people will think that is so impolite. And the third one is, do you have a more specific action we can take? I think this one is also a great expression. And the final one is, but how come fake news could be spreading there? For me, I think this one is kind of you interrogate someone. I think for maybe for others, they will think, it's nice for them, but for me, it's so straightforward. Yes.
Okay, right. Thank you very much. Okay, here. Thanks for the great presentation. That's a very good way to write, to say. And have any people around you face something? If you want to ask somebody's opinions or experience, that's fine. If so, how did they deal with it? So you can give a kind of situation, and then if people identify your situation, if so, and then how does a person react, or how do you want to react in that specific situation? That is okay. And sometimes telling teachers the problem will only make that's very much odd sentence, because it's just to follow the way Chinese language goes. That is actually too direct. And then if you can just double check the sentence and try to use, hopefully, as good as English as you can. Okay. And do you have a more specific action we can take? That is very precise and good way to ask. But how come could be spreading there? If you want to involve the kind of personal opinions, try to be careful, because your opinion doesn't represent all other people's opinions. If you want to say that, try to wrap your sentence into a more polite way. Okay? Right. So here, how do we make our questions? I would say, first, you express your gratitude to say thank you for such a good, wonderful presentation, and give identity, meaning you briefly say, we are so-and-so from whatever high school or university. You may write or speak with a simple style, but I would suggest not longer than 3 sentences. Because if you speak too long, people will just, they're so difficult to follow your point. It's not a proper situation to speak a lot complicated English. You shall make your questions more directly point out to the parts you want to know, and try to speak clearly, firmly, and quickly. 那这边老师要说的就是说呢，你除了一开始感谢别人的一个这个线上发表之外呢，你最好这很简单的说一下你是谁，从什么地方、什么大学或什么高中来的。然后这个时候你的发问呢，尽量像我们前面看到那几个 example， 一定要这个简单明了。然后你看一下这个插图，这个正中红心，就是说呢，你尽量不要用很多或是很长或是很复杂的句子来问问题哈。问问题尽可能不要超过3句啊，问的一定要清楚。然后你的口气是肯定的，这就是你想要知道的。然后呢，尽可能把语速稍微拉快一点点哈，因为你讲的太慢，讲一个字停3秒，事实上呢，也是一个不太好的一个方式。OK。
はい。質問のやり方を説明します。まず、質問を書いたり聞いたりするときには、はじめに発表者に対するお礼と自分の学校名を述べ、そして長い文じゃなくてシンプルな書き方や話し方で質問しましょう。だいたい3つの文くらいが限度です。はい。
はい、そうですね。Okay, my example. If I am the one who is going to make a question, I would say, thank you for your wonderful presentation. I'm Grace Fang from Yishou University. I'm so and so from whatever high school or whatever university, or if you want to mention your country, very much welcome. And the next three, and number 4, you can choose either or. I would like to know more about whatever part in your presentation. Okay, or you will say, could you kindly explain more about something? That is the thing you really, really want to know. 好，这边老师再简单的说一下哈，就是老师实际上会在发问的时候这么说或这么写的，就是首先先谢谢别人这么棒的 presentation， 然后稍微讲一下我是谁，我从哪里来。那如果你要 mention 你自己的国家，讲一下你是哪一个国家来的，也非常棒哈。那我们 WYN 有非常非常多的国家不一样地方的学生一起参与的。那第3个、第4个句子的时候呢，那你可以选择其中一个。我特别想要知道的这个东西，你可以说 I would like to know more about。如果这个presentation 里面有某一个他讲的不是很深入，或者是你觉得你要再多知道一点，你就直接把那个东西放在 more about 后面，或者 Could you kindly explain more about？ 你可不可以再讲多一点的什么东西？这样子的话呢，就是非常好的一个问问题的方式。OK， 好 ，some useful expressions。现在有一些很好的这个 sentence pattern， 如果说大家可以稍微记1、2个，将来你在问问题的时候就可以使用哈。In your presentation, you talk about something something. I would like to know more about something. I would like to know more about it. Does what you said imply it? 如果你想要知道更加深入的话，那你先要 clarify， 你要先要弄清楚你的认知是不是对的。那这时候你可以这么说 ：Does what you say imply something? Could you clarify something a little bit more? Does that mean? 是不是你说的是这样的意思呢？ Why did you choose instead of some other things? 为什么你选择这个而不是那个？ Do correct me if I'm wrong。这个是如果你觉得说你没有100% 100% 的自信说我这样问或是我这样子想是对的，你可以这么说，或者是 I might misunderstand your point, but I think 那个 but I think 后面通常都是重点哈。We put most important things right after but I think. However, before that, you will say, I might misunderstand your point. I might be wrong. Do correct me. To show your attitude, you are humble. You are wanting to know the answer. And what would you think? What would you think? Something and something. 这个也是很好的 sentence pattern. 大家可以试试看，选择1、2个适合你的来使用。好。How do we choose questions to answer? First, I would say you choose the prepared ones. When you finish presentation, I'm sure you have already done some kind of preparation regarding to the questions. So choose the prepared ones and choose the short and clear ones and choose the ones you think you can handle, you can answer directly, exactly. Precisely, and choose those which can help you to readdress your point. That means to kind of punch your point again. 好，老师这边要稍微再解释一下哈，我们要怎么样子去选择问题呢？presentation 结束之后，梆，一大堆问题出来了，那最好你是选择刚好跟你准备的问题是差不多的，或者是那个问题比较短、比较清楚的，或者是说。你觉得那个问题你可以好好的发挥，可以表现得很好的，或者是说那个问题跟你的 presentation 的主题有相关。那当你在回答问题的时候，无形中又是把你的重点再说一次 ，readdress, repunch your point again， 再把你的重点强调了一遍的那一种问题。OK。
これは発表者がどうやってオーディエンスから出た質問を選ぶかを説明しています。事前に聞かれると 予測した質問を優先したり、または分かりやすくて答えやすい質問、完璧に答えられそうな質問を選び答えましょう。はい。
そうですね。Okay, how do we answer the questions during Q&A if we know the answer? 我们要怎么去回答问题？当我们在 Q&A 的时候，别人问我们，然后我们确实知道那个答案是什么哈。So first, again, you express your gratitude, saying thank you for asking the question and clarify the questions if necessary. Paraphrase the questions. That means you probably will have to re-say the question again in a more simple and friendly way. And refer back to the content of your PPT. That is really the good way to answer the questions. 那最好的呢，就是你要把你的这个问题先做一个厘清哈，厘清之后呢，如果别人问的东西是你的 PPT 里面已经说到的，那你就 refer back to， 你就把那个 PPT 里面的哪一页秀出来给他看就好了。And then you shall answer the questions straightforward to the point accurately, and give clear and sincere response, and provide some examples. Show respect by giving reasons to yes/no questions. Build up understandable logic and help audience to anticipate your answer. 好，这边是什么意思呢？你要回答的是比较直接的，你不需要再跟他走迷宫绕来绕去，直接的给他答案，然后又清楚又诚恳的这回答，然后给一些 example， 这样子别人很清楚你的答案是什么，会很快去了解。然后呢，最好如果他的问题是 yes no 问句的话，那你最好可以也是比较直接的给他一个很清楚的答案。同时呢，如果他的问题是有比较有层次的话，你要 build up the understandable logic. That means perhaps you have to explain surely what that is, and then move a little bit more to help your audience to catch the point. 也就是说呢，你要把你的这个东西解释得很清楚的话，你可能要深入浅出。那这样子你可以让你的听众稍微期待一下你下一个句要讲的话，这种期待感，这种逻辑也是非常重要的。OK。
ここでは質問への回答の仕方や表現を説明します。特に質問に対する答えが分かるときの表現を紹介します。まず、最初に質問に対して感謝の言葉を言いましょう。そして、質問を繰り返し、オーディエンスも含め、みんなが質問内容が分かるようにしましょう。それから、時には、パワーポイントのスライドも見せながら質問に率直にかつ丁寧に答えましょう。この時に分かりやすい例も for example などと言って、紹介しましょう。また論理的な回答をするために必ず理由などを例えば because と言って説明しましょう。はい。
How do we respond to questions during Q&A if we don't know the answer? 那我们怎么去回答这个问题？当我们并不知道答案的时候 ，Again, you express your gratitude and you clarify the question. 跟前面一样哈，首先你要谢谢他来做这个发问，然后呢，你尽可能用你自己的语言去弄清楚对方要问的是什么。Admit.You haven't thought about that point. Thank him or her for proposing this new dimension for you to think about, and explain why you can't provide the answer. Probably it's because of, I don't know, lack of the data or lack of research. Never ever remain completely silent. 好，老师这边很快再解释一下哈。这个时候呢，你如果不知道这个答案，你也不要 panic， 你就 诚实的说，哦，你还没有想到那一点，谢谢对方提供一个这样的一个新的面向，让你去思考，让你去做研究。那你可以稍微解释一下，说为什么你没有办法给他提供一个非常清楚的答案？可能是说data 不够啦，或者是目前的研究还没有做到这里。千万不要保持沉默，千万不要什么都不说。OK。
次には質問に対する答えがわからない時の表現を紹介します。答えがわからないの時には、素直に答えがわからないことを認め、答えがわからない理由も言いましょう。例えば、データやリサーチがまだ不十分であるといったことを言えばいいでしょう。特に、答えがわからない時に一番避けたいのは沈黙になることです。これだけは避けましょう。
はい。Okay, some useful expressions, some sentence patterns like thank you for your question, thank you for your asking. That's an interesting question. That's an inspiring question. That means, oh, this question is very good. It's very interesting. 好，这些都是 compliment， 都是赞美之词啦哈。先谢谢人家，然后再说哦，你的问题真是太棒了，太好了哈。Does your question refer to? Are you asking? 这个时候你再 clarify 那个 question， 这个时候你再把这个 question 弄得更加的清楚。All right, the question is da da da, and our answer is positive and negative, yes, no, yes and no. Given that. 好。这个时候呢，你可以把你的这个问题呢，再重新用你的话说一遍，然后呢，直接回答哈。如果对方要的就是一个比较肯定对不对的答案，但是有的时候 yes and no 也是，尤其老师在英国念书的时候，经常碰到老鹰说 yes and no， 就是是也不是哈，这个也是某一种答案哈。Given that 后面要加上一个原因哈。那 given that so and so， you can provide some reasons， 你就可以放一些原因在这样的句型后面。In light of the fact that we think， 就是基于这样的一个事实，我们认为说 ，in fact，your question refers to something brings us back to look at another dimension of or give us a bigger picture of。Or makes us think of, reminds us of， 这些都是很好的用法哈。就是说你的问题呢，是不是refers to 跟什么有关系，或是让我们想到了一个可以看到一个新的面向，或者是说让我们看到了一个更大的一个事件的全貌，或者是说你的这个问题让我们想到了提醒我们什么的。好，这个。如果大家可以用的话，也是非常好的。That is to say, therefore, furthermore， 这些连接的词语也是要尽量的用哈，这样子感觉你的口语的英语的说话会比较的优美一些。Okay, if time is not enough to answer the question, what can we do? That might happen due to the time limit of time.Please have a look at the reference page. Therefore, the presenter must prepare a reference page. And on that page, you shall provide the link, website, and Facebook address, email, or line directly on the reference page. 好，这边老师要说的是，有的时候会发生的就是说，你想要问问题，但是时间不够，或是你想要回答问题，但是已经没有那个时间了。这个时候呢？你的 PPT 上面最好有一个 reference page， 上面要有过去的文献，或者是你所有的报告里面提及的别人的相关的一些著作，那全部都要放在里面这是学术伦理。同时，如果你 OK 的话，你可以把你自己的怎么样去联络到你的方式，如果你 prefer to use Facebook 也可以 ，email 也可以 ，Gmail 也可以，就是有一个方式让别人可以找得到你。如果对方对你的研究或是你的报告还想要更深入了解的时候，他们知道怎么样子 reach you， 怎么样子可以找到你。OK。
続いては 時間が足りないため十分な回答が提供できない場合は、スライドの参考文献のページに見せながら発表に使ったデータの元を見てもらうようにしましょう。はい。
はい、そうです。Okay, good manner plus. Good manner is very important. On top of that, we hope that all of you can provide a friendly speech. That means pay attention to your speed, your gesture, your intonation, your interaction. Try to be humble, be sincere, be authentic. And so that we can all enjoy learning, sharing, and helping one another. Okay.
中文。
哦，对，好，最重要的是，我们这个很好的这个学术礼仪是一定要有的。那除此之外呢，老师更希望说，我们在这个发表的时候，我们的这整个发表是很友善的。你必须要注意到你的语速，你的手势，然后你的声调，然后你跟不管是伙伴们之间的互动，还是跟提问的学生之间的互动，那我们尽可能呢，就是要谦卑的来学习，然后原汁原味的做出一些 action plan。然后呢，我们很 sincere、很真诚的来跟别人交流，这样子我们才可以好好去享受这么棒的学习。我们可以分享我们所知道的，我们所综合做出来的东西，而且我们可以看一下旁边那张图，我们可以互相的帮助彼此的了解、互补，这都是非常非常棒、非常美好的事情。OK。
最後にこれまでに説明したプレゼンテーションの良いマナーに加えて、フレンドリーな話し方、わかりやすいスピード、ジェスチャー、イントネーションを心がけましょう。そして自分のプライドを見せつけるのではなく、謙虚した態度で発表者もオーディエンスもお互いに助け合い、いい大会を作り上げるように心がけましょう。はい。
はい、そうですね。ありがとうございます。So, thank you for your listening. Please enjoy WYN. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. We still got 10 minutes left. And then any other questions in whatever language, because we have very good interpreters. So if you want to ask me in Japanese, that's fine. 好，我们还有10分钟的时间，谢谢大家。其实一个 seminar 最重要的就是后面有这样的时间让大家问问题。好，那如果你要用英文问、中文问、日文问都 OK。
老师，你要不要转回去那个 useful expression 那边，给大家可以拍照一下。
好，因为这个都会放在网络上，所以
OK。
懂吗？对，这个吗？
对。
OK。
大家可以拍个照或是什么。
好。
录音ショットとか。
来，1、2、3。down。OK， 来。来，1、2、3。1、2、3。
1、2、3。
还有吗？应该只有那2页吧。
Okay, thank you.
好。
I have a question.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hi.
Okay, I'm from Kansai University. I'm Yoshida, Professor Yoshida from Kansai University. Thank you very much for nice presentation. Okay, I have a question. If you don't have any questions, what shall you do?
Okay, if you do not receive any questions,
Yeah.
that means probably your presentation is too good, so people were all stunned.
Okay.
Or your presentation is too hard to understand.
Okay.
so that people were still kind of digesting your ideas. In that case,
Uh-huh.
I would suggest you try to speak of your point, your emphasis again,
Right.
briefly, but using other words. Do not repeat the same expressions. You can use simpler English expressions to refer back to the emphasis that you really want to say, that you really want other persons to know about.
Okay. So you have to prepare a little bit to add, to say your idea in detail, or give some ideas in the future or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. If you can point out, because this time I think we only have 6 minutes for the presentation.
Right.
Time is very, very short.
Right.
Therefore, sometimes it's very hard to explain the thing you want to say profoundly.
Right.
Therefore, you can point out where about whatever documents
Okay.
somebody can look into, or if you are interested, whose research that everybody can go and have a look.
Okay. Thank you very much.
神田先生。
Hi.
Hello. Oh, thank you, Professor Grace. It was very informative presentation. Maybe this is also related to what Professor Yoshida already asked. I was wondering, if you don't have the answer for a question,
Yes.
is it okay to forward, like after your steps, is it okay to forward the personal opinion or ideas about the question, even if you don't have answer as a group or based on your data?
If you don't know exactly how to answer the questions, I would say very likely, you shall clarify the questions, because sometimes I do believe you don't know completely about the answer. You probably were too nervous to understand the questions. Or another thing is, even the person who asking the questions, he or she does not know exactly what he or she is saying sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Therefore,
Yes.
you can help him or her to say again the questions. And so that meanwhile, you kind of digest what that question exactly is. And perhaps you can provide a little tiny bit info regarding to the questions or regarding to the answer.
Thank you very much, Professor.
OK， 好，那个这边老师很快解释一下哈。如果你真的不知道答案，事实上你也不会100% 完全不知道答案，因为这是你的研究哈。那你完全不知道答案的那个可能性是很低的，所以这个时候你要 clarify， 你是要跟他讲一下，你是不是真的在问什么什么什么？然后呢，你可以 provide 他一些有用的 information 哈，指引他去找到答案。这样子的话，其实你也不是完全没有回答，你是很 sincerely 在帮助他，或者我们来帮助我们自己，我们大家一起去找到那个答案。所以在这个时候呢，你也有绝对的自信，可以不要保持沉默，可以 say something. Okay.
Hello, may I ask you one question?
Yes, please.
Thanks so much for the wonderful presentation. Especially, it's amazing me your students also join, and their nice interaction help our understanding. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and my question is, if the question was a strange one, so not related to the presentation, how can we treat that?
Okay, right. If the question is very strange, it depends on which level you speak. You regarding to the question is strange. Sometimes you think the question is strange, but it is not. It's what you think that question is strange. Do you know what I mean? So again, clarify the questions, asking the person, is that exactly what you mean? 你必须要and then after that, and if you really think that question is irrelevant, you can direct him to ask again to the right questions.
Yes, yes.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
好，那这边老师很快解释一下哈，这个问题相当的棒哈。如果你拿到是一个你要回答是一个很奇怪的问题，这个时候你也不用紧张。好，那所谓的奇怪是问题本身很奇怪，还是你认为它很奇怪？这个是有一些距离的，所以你可以再问一遍说，请问一下你的问题是不是真的是在指什么什么什么？这个时候你可以帮助他再问一次。You help the person to ask again, but in the right way. 但是是在这个正确的方式，是在大家可以理解的方式，是在大家不会觉得奇怪的方式。因为不要忘记了，我们 WYN 最重要的是什么 ？Helping one another。在这边你要互相帮忙，这样子大家才可以一起的成长进步。OK, right, thank you. 好 ，Any other questions? Any other questions? Yes.
Any questions?
Okay, if you don't have any questions, I will say something regarding to the previous questions. Actually, you are a team, okay? You are not alone. You are not one person. Perhaps your teacher, your supervisor is next to you while you are doing your presentation. Therefore, if you encounter the questions, truly you don't understand it, you think it's odd, it's bizarre, it's okasi. In that case, you shall not panic. Clarify and ask the person to ask the questions again in the simple way, or even you as a team, you can help one another. If you don't feel you want to answer the questions, your teammate can help you, or you can select another person to answer the questions. The odd questions to you, perhaps it's not so odd to your group members. So when you work together, you must be nice to each other. Maybe you will argue during the discussion stage. However, you are a team. You shall help each other and be a very good teammate so that the teamwork will be very effective and meaningful. 好，老师再简单的说一下哈，刚刚有老师或同学问到说怎么回答问题，老师要再强调一点，就是说我们 WYN 最棒的就是我们是一个 team。那这个 team 呢，有这个不一样国家的学生，我们在不断的讨论的过程当中，大家已经是好朋友了，已经是同盟大姐了。所以这个时候呢，如果你不会回答这个问题，或是你不会问问题都没有关系啊。你们一个 team 当中又不是只有你一个人哈，你可以跟你的同伴互相的帮忙哈。如果你觉得很奇怪的问题，可能你的同伴马上就理解了，他觉得不奇怪，那他可以回答，那我们就 select 这个人来回答这个问题。所以这就是一个 team 很美好的地方。We work together and we help each other. We all grow up all together. 我们一起成长，互相帮忙。所以呢，在这样的情况当中呢，你绝对不要害怕哈，你有同伴。那可能你的老师或 supervisor 是在旁边的，所以在回答问题的这样的一个过程当中，也是很需要你的这个 teammates， 大家一起脑力激荡，互相帮忙。OK， 嗨
，OK， 我们时间也差不多了，那要结束吗？
好。那个还有问题吗？那个もしもし。
如果台湾这边还有问题的话，明天还有机会，可是会有老师的 Q&A 时间这样子。
好，那
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so thank you for participating today's seminar, and
And I have the email address here. You
yeah.
are very much welcome to write to me. And as long as I receive your email, I will quickly respond back to you. 如果你没有问题要问，你比较害羞，还是时间不够，你要去忙别的事情，你可以写给我。好，老师一旦接到你的 email， 我一定马上回给你，好吗？好
Okay, so next Friday we have another lecture from Kyoto Sankyo University. So see you next week. Bye bye.
OK，拜拜，拜拜，
谢谢。
谢谢。